Hi again, Mark here from TalkingBass.net. This is the fourth lesson in the short series on the legato techniques of hammer-ons and pull-offs. So far we've looked at some basic exercises and riffs. This lesson we're going to look at some more advanced lines. So you should now have a good grasp of the basic hammer-on and pull-off techniques. So let's have a look at how we can pull off several notes on one string to create some longer lines. So first of all, we'll work through the same patterns that we looked at in the second hammer-ons lesson. So there we used the half-step, wholestep, wholestep, half-step, and the wholestep, wholestep. So we'll work through those. So we'll start at the 7th fret there of the G string, the D. And first of all, we'll just run through the half-step, wholestep. So we've got the D there, then we've got the E flat. So that's with the 2nd finger. And then we've got the F there at the 10th fret. So we've got 7th fret, 8th fret, 10th fret with the 1st finger, 2nd finger, 4th finger. Okay? So we're going to hammer on those notes. So we start with the D, we pluck it, hammer on, just as we did in the other lesson. But then, once we've got up there to the F, we just pull off down through it. So we have. So start slowly. Making sure that you've got good technique, all the notes are the same volume, and you're not scuffing and you're not bringing your hands too far out. Keeping the fingers nice and curled, fingers parallel with the frets, and then just build up speed. And you want to retain that same technique when you're doing it. It all needs to be nice and clean and the same volume. Now once you've done that, you can just keep going round and round. And as you heard at the beginning of that line, I wasn't hitting that 4th finger hard enough, so you might have to make up for it with a little bit more pressure on that 4th finger. So, and by doing that, we have the same thing as we did with the trills, that you can keep the line going and completely avoid the use of this hand. So, and that's good for your hand strength anyway, you know, just working through that, but it's good for also working on the control. Okay. So now let's take that same pattern of half step, whole step, and we'll just move it down across the strings. So let's move on to the D string. Okay, then onto the A string. Okay, and as you can hear, I'm trying to keep the line going. You don't want the volume to start dropping as your fingers get tired and, you know, diminish down to nothing. You've got to keep the pressure up on the fingers. You've got to build up that finger strength. Then on the E string. Okay, so just practicing doing that, and you don't want obviously the fingers flicking back and, you know, giving you that kind of sound. You want to keep nice and controlled, and you don't want to be flicking the other strings. I sometimes use this hand to cut off other, you might have noticed I'll bring it in every now and then, like when I'm trilling. If I start to hear any kind of residual noise, I might bring that hand down just to hold it quiet for a second. You'll start to hear it, but sometimes if I'm doing something like that, I might put both fingers down there on the E and the A string. Here I'm playing on the D string. I've got the thumb there on the E string, and I've got the 1st finger on the A string, so that's keeping them nice and quiet below. You've still got to be careful of the G string obviously, but if you let that finger, the 1st finger, when you hold down there, you can kind of catch it with the underside of this finger, and that can help to mute that string, because otherwise you're going to occasionally get the fingers coming back and flicking it. So I'm actually using that finger, the underside of that finger, to mute that G string. So I am muting the other strings all the while, because when you start doing this kind of stuff, you are going to start getting noises, okay? So just work that pattern up and down on various different strings, and then try moving it around different frets. up here. Every area on the bass is slightly different and poses its own problems. Sometimes it might be something to do with the stretch, or things can start getting in the way if your cutaway is not big enough up here. So it's always going to have an effect on how you play. So yeah, just try getting used to that pattern in various areas of the neck on different strings. Once you've nailed that first half-step, whole-step pattern, we can move on to the next one, which is the whole-step, half-step pattern. So if you move on to, back to there, the 7th fret there on the G string, D, then we hammer on to the E there at the 9th fret, and then hammer on with the 4th finger to the F there. So we have whole-step, half-step, or 2 frets, 1 fret. And then we pull off back. Want to get used to that feeling, and this one can be problematic with the 4th finger, and then you just want to move up and down. Move it onto the other strings. Okay, and then like I said, as with the other one, move it around. Can get a bit strange when you get right down onto these low frets, and you have to really push down and start using the hand a lot and the arm almost to get behind it. You know, on these low frets down here on the E string. Whoops. So just move it around. Then, once you've mastered that pattern, move on to the whole step, whole step. So back at the 7th fret again, we've got 2nd finger takes the 9th fret there, 4th finger takes the 11th fret. And this can be a bit of a pain with the stretch. Just up and down. Like I said, practice slowly, and then just build up speed. And as before, as I've said in the other lessons, if you start cramping up, getting problems in your arms and your hands, tendons start hurting and stuff like that, stop. Don't play through the pain. It won't help. What you need to do is stop, have a break for a couple of minutes, then come back, and you'll probably find that it's okay. If you have something strange like a really sharp pain that's coming in there on anything, not just hammer-ons and pull-offs, but anything in your playing, then stop, because you shouldn't really be getting sharp, you know, prolonged pains in your hands at any point. That's not good at all. So when that happens, you need to stop and take a break, and possibly take a break from playing for a couple of days if you're getting a recurring sharp pain in there. That's no good for anybody. So yeah, when you start doing these things like these bigger stretches, like now I feel a little bit more loosened off. You know, I've been playing that and I feel better for playing it. So D string, A string, E string, which, you know, always feels a little bit odd. So, and that pattern, the tone, don't worry about getting, you know, hammer-ons and pull-offs way down here, because, you know, it's a bit unrealistic. You're not really going to be doing that very often. So, you know, some of these bigger stretch ones like the tone pattern, or sorry, the whole step. It's not too bad up here, but as you get further down, it starts to be a bit of a problem. So yeah, don't worry about that one. Keep that one further up here. So once we've mastered those few patterns, we can move on to the 1, 2, 3, 4 pattern. So using all the fingers. So if we move back to that D again on the G string, pluck the note, 7th fret there. Then we have the 8th fret, 9th fret, 10th fret with 1st, 2nd, 3rd, 4th fingers. So that's all 4 fingers. Then pull off. And just take that nice and slow, keeping it nice and even. And just work up and down. And that in itself is a really good exercise. Slowly there, and then you can just build up speed. But like I say, speed's not a big deal with hammer-ons and pull-offs. You know, you can build up speed very, very easily because it's just about pushing your hand down. You know, anybody can put the fingers down in, you know, fast, like dilla dilla dilla. That's not the aim. What we're aiming for is clear tone, keeping the volume nice and even, and just clean technique. okay? We want to be in control of all of this. And for that, we need to build up the hand strength somewhat. Then move on to the D string. And this particular exercise, 1, 2, 3, 4, can be a lot harder on the other strings because there's more chance of hitting these other, the other strings above or below. And that one shouldn't be too bad for moving down, but it is a lot. You've really got to. You can hear there when I first played it down there, the fourth finger needed to really push down. Okay, so now let's try a more normal standardized pattern, okay? So we'll just play a C major scale, up and down. So we've tried it with hammer-ons before, but now we'll try playing the whole thing up and down using hammer-ons and pull-offs. So if we take the C there, 3rd fret of the A string, work up the C major scale, hammer-ons. Whoops. Then when we come down, okay, so this is quite tricky. So we've got the hammer-ons all the way up, and each finger is being held down one at a time there. So once we get up there, we should have all 3 fingers there, 1st finger, 3rd finger and 4th finger all held down. Then when we play the pull-offs, pull off to the 3rd finger, pull off to the 2nd finger, then we pluck for the G there. And when we play that note, all the fingers should be held down in place, ready to pull off. So I'm not putting that finger down and then putting these lower fingers down. All the fingers go down together. Okay, so we've got that pattern coming down, G, F, E. Then pluck the D, and we're back to the C. So slowly. If you want to play that major scale up and down and you want it to turn around at the bottom so we're not just playing 7s as we go up and down so that we've got a nice set of 8 notes, we can use the B below at the 2nd fret to turn it round. So we start at the C there, hammer on, we work up, pull off down through them. Then when we get down to C, we can pull off down to the B and then hammer on back through the C and the D. So we get okay, and it's quite tough to keep that feeling of 4s going there. You can kind of disintegrate into 3s all the time because you've got 3 notes on each string. So you've got to be careful there. And even then, I was finding it quite tricky. It was because when you pluck, obviously there's going to be more of an accent there. So just go with it. Just practice slowly. Let the fingers build up in strength. Get the pattern under your fingers, and then just build up speed gradually. If you want to start applying these hammer-ons and pull-offs into your fills and solos and stuff like that, then obviously the first thing you can do is just start trying to put hammer-ons and pull-offs in. Whatever you would normally play finger-picked, just start trying some hammer-ons and pull-offs there. You might be able to speed things up or make things sound a little more fluid. But one little thing that you can do that's quite nice is a little turn, a little melodic turn that can be nice to begin runs and fills. We'll start off in C major because it's easy, showing in C major, and we've already played a C major. And it often works good up here, but we'll play it down here first of all. So we start on a B, so this is the 7th of the scale, so 7th note of C major. Then we're going to play a hammer-on to the C, so this is the 4th fret of the G string to the 5th fret of the G string, and then a pull-off back. So 4th fret, 5th fret, 4th fret, B, C, B, okay? Then I want you to play the A there at the 7th fret of the D string. And just work on that to begin with. So you start off, and this is one of the things where earlier I've said it's more important to play things slowly. This one's better fast because that's what its intended purpose. It's a little turn to lead into something. So we have, so you want to practice just doing that little turn there, start slowly and build up speed until, and that can be a good beginning to a run. Now the next thing to do is we come back up to the B. So we pluck the B again after we've just played the A. So we just come back there to the 4th fret. So that gives us a nice little turn there, and you could do, I mean, once you've played that, you can even hammer on further up. So let's say hammer on up to the C, then up to the D, you know, 5th fret and 7th fret there, and then pull off back down. So we started with, then we added, then, and then, and all of those are just little melodic devices. So if I was playing up here, so I just put it in as a little turn up at the top. I just played up a major 7 arpeggio. And you can change how you play that little turn up at the top there. So instead of playing that little semitone, if we were to move down to the A to make it fit the C major scale, we could play the A, B there. So we've got 2nd fret, 4th fret, and then play the G there on the D string. So we play the 5th fret there. Okay. So it's just a nice little turn that you can put there at the beginning of lines. You get it in things like if you've ever heard Donna Lee. As you start that run, you know, that's the kind of thing that we're looking at. Hammerons and pull-offs are perfect for that kind of line, and a lot of people will, if they played something like Donna Lee, will pick those. But if you want that kind of flowing sax kind of line, then you know the hammer-on and pull-offs, the legato style is a lot more effective. You can also use that little turn in a blues scale. That's a really good application for this. So if we take a C blues scale, C, E flat, F, F sharp, G, B flat, C. So we've got 3rd fret and 6th fret of the A string, 3rd fret, 4th fret, 5th fret of the D string, and the 3rd fret and 5th fret of the G string. The 4th and the sharpened 4th there, we can do that little melodic turn again. So we've got the 3rd fret, 4th fret, 3rd fret on the D string, F, F sharp, F. Then we go down to the E flat there, 6th fret of the A string. So it's a good way to finish off a blues scale. So if I was up here, whoops. Okay, so just little turns in there just to make it sound a little bit more fancy. So I'll just give you a quick introduction to how we can start to run lines through scales and things with using this kind of technique, these hammer-ons and pull-offs. And we'll take a very, very simple C major scale, and what we're going to do is run down a sequence in 3s. Now, if I was to work down through the scale in 3s, finger-picked, I might have that 1 2 3 1 2 3 1 2 3 1 2 3 1 2 3, etc. But what we're going to do is we're going to start at the C there, 17th fret of the G string, pluck the note, and then pull off down to the B. So that's 17th fret to the 16th fret, and then we slide. Okay, so we plucked, then we pull off and slide down to the A. Then I'm going to hammer on to the B, okay? And we start all over again. So we have this pull off, slide, hammer on, pull off, slide. So it's hammer on, pull off, slide, hammer on, pull off, slide, hammer on, pull off, slide. That's the pattern, but we start with the pluck, obviously. So we've got pluck, pull off, slide, hammer on, pull off, slide, hammer on, pull off, slide, and we just work down through the notes of C major. C, B, A, G, F, E, D. C. So okay, so that's the pattern, very simple pattern. and we can work down quicker. Okay, so it's just a very quick way of making a little, yeah, and getting used to that. If you want to extend that a little bit more, you can start to play groups of 5 by actually using all 3 fingers. So we would have, okay, so I had, so C, 17th fret, pull off down to the 3rd finger, pull off down to the 1st finger. So then we slide down, then we hammer on back up through the notes, and then we start pulling off again. So we're pulling off down, then sliding, hammering on up, pulling off down. So it's just that down, up. And you just build up speed and just work on your finger strength and just keeping everything nice and neat in there, okay? And that's just a way of running down through a scale. I mean, there's a limitless number of things that you can do with all these different hammer-ons, you know, to work down. You can work across strings, down strings, just too many to mention, but that's a good start in trying to work, you know, with your fingers, working down through these lines. Okay, so please like this video if it's helped you out, and leave a comment if you need any help or have any requests, or if you just want to say hi. Also, subscribe to this channel to receive updates on all the weekly video releases. Then if you want, check out TalkingBass.net, and there's a whole host of different videos on there, different lessons. There's all the downloadable lesson content, and obviously sign up to become a free member to Talking Bass, and there's a load of free stuff in there in the free members area, okay? So go check it out. See you later.